Earlier today when I tried to move my Audi, I discovered the oil change light had come on. I really think that a lot of people like me didn't buy the extended dealer service and will either pay the dealer or hopefully try to DIY some of this work. As long as I have the car, I'll capture some of that stuff. So let me show you what you need to do the oil in the easiest possible way on this car. Anybody can do this. It takes absolutely no time. The only caveat to doing the easiest oil change on an A4 Audi, specifically the B9 model, is that you need a pump. I personally love the Mityvac pumps. They're excellent. I have two of them. I use one, which is this one, for evacuating dirty fluids, and I have another one for dispensing clean fluids when you're working in tight areas where just pouring from a bottle isn't really possible. So that Mityvac pump is really the only specialty tool you need. Let's take a look at some of the other stuff you need and an optional tool that I think is worth a purchase. The very basic here, guys, you need your oil. I personally went with a Castrol Edge. This is a recommended oil on the list from Audi, and this oil complies with the 504 VW standard. Now, I did find that a lot of people prefer to use the 5W40, which is available in the VW 502 standard. I really recommend Bob is the Oil Guy. It's a great forum for oil and doing research on oil. For this car being a little runaround, I don't care. I'm using what the manual lists as an approved oil. Here's a new filter for the B9 Audi. It's an OEM filter. I'll link it in the description. Now inside that box, you will get a new filter medium and a new ring. You want to replace the ring and you want to replace the filter. Highly recommended a terry cloth and gloves. Optionally, you've probably already discovered your B9 does not have a dipstick unless you're in Europe. This tool is absolutely optional for those of you that prefer to go kind of the OEM route. There is a way to check the oil level inside the car, and we will actually use that way as well. So my dipstick read perfectly full, but I think we should look on the car computer to make sure that it's also reading full. I just drove this thing, the oil's still warm. The computer should give us a nice reading showing that it's full. So first step is let's turn on the ignition, but not start the engine. So in the main menu, let's go to vehicle and then push up into the search function and just type oil, not 0.
O-I-L.
Very, very easy. So we can see the oil level, and oil level is okay. Remember, we're warmed up and on level ground. And again, if you're not sure how to access that search feature, whenever you're in any main screen, so let's say you go to vehicle, you take the joystick and you just push up and you're in the search. Here we can see I've got a little gear wrench up there and an oil change is due. And I'm right at 25,329 miles. Now guys, here's our dipstick tube. You will probably have a cap if you didn't buy a dipstick. So that feels like the bottom. Our pump has two modes of operation. This is to pull liquid out of here and push it out. And this is to pull liquid into here. We just start pumping now. So here comes all of that old oil. Give it a few more pumps. So eventually you'll start hearing it making air bubbly noises as it slurps the last of the oil out of your pan. Just keep moving it around a little in there and get all of it out. All right, guys, as you can see, nothing's really coming out anymore. So I actually just colored these lines in and put the numbers next to them in black marker because reading the white was impossible, and I just realized it'd be a good idea. I'm gonna do it to my second unit too. But you could tell we're right at 5.2 liters, so we've got all the oil out. We're gonna keep this hose in here for now. What we're gonna do is remove the engine cover. I'm gonna kind of go around and up. When I was inquiring about doing the plugs, the dealer quoted some insane amount of money, but they would be just as easy as pulling the coil packs up and removing the plug under them. I can't imagine this being even an hour job. All right, so right down here is where our oil filter lives. It's right under this cap. This is gonna use a 32 millimeter socket to remove. If you do not have a 32 millimeter, I suggest getting one. Vice grips are probably not recommended. All right, it's gonna be messy. We need a towel. We probably should have let it drain more into the pan. It's all draining away in there now. I should have just waited longer with the seal broken. There, looking inside, there's our old filter medium. And there's our old ring right there that we need to remove. You're going to need to kind of snap out the filter And I would take a look and see if there's a bunch of shiny metal or anything, which I don't see. Now with my mess cleaned up, the only other thing I really have to do is to get the rest of the filter oil out. And there's the rest of the filter oil coming out. That was the oil that was remaining inside the cap. What I like to do now is to go blow this out into a larger storage container that I can go turn in. Remember, don't dump your oil. We want to check inside the cap for any like crazy chocolate milk stuff, but it looks good. All right, so we're gonna open up our oil. And we're gonna do 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's where things get a little tricky. We know we need at least half of this guy, so we should be down to this mark. Let's see where we're at with the dipstick. Yeah, we're all the way to the top. So I think we're pretty much good. We can use something like a little poker to get rid of that O-ring. One thing I like to do is get a little oil on my finger and get the O-ring lubricated. The new one, of course. Oh, look how dirty that is. I'm gonna clean that up first. Well, I feel better about what we got going on there. Just the kind of stuff your dealer probably won't do for you. Get this right back in its spot. So the next thing you do is you take your cartridge filter, you pop it in. All right, now we're ready to pop the filter back in. I'm not sure that it's visible from where you guys are, but it says 25.5 Newton meters. Now 25.5 Newton meters is actually 18 foot-pounds of torque. So we should be able to just use my snap-on torque wrench to finish this thing off. Let's find 18 over here. Oh, 18.5, that should be okay. So guys, I hope this has been an informative video for you. We're right at the home stretch, just about to button everything up and get going. As usual, I really appreciate everybody that gives me a thumbs up, subscribes, leaves me a nice comment. It means a lot to me. There will also be some Amazon links down below, so check those out. Those do help me out. If you use them, I get a small commission. All right, I think we can close the oil cap for now. I don't know why there's so much dirt in there. I'm gonna clean that up. Try not to knock the dirt inside. The goal is to get the dirt stuck to the towel. As you can see, Castrol is a factory recommended fill on here. Now it's time to throw the cover back on. There's some areas that it needs to clear that are obvious, and it mounts on these pegs right here. So what I recommend is start kind of at the back, line one of the pegs up, get it on there, and just go in a circle. And boom, cover's on, everything's good. Here's how everything looks after we're done. There shouldn't be a whole lot of mess or anything like that in here. It should be nice and clean. Without starting the engine, we want to pop on the ignition.
O-I-L.
It says it's okay. So we still need to drive it around and make sure. But what we can do now is reset the change interval. I'm going to pop open the garage, get the engine started. Everything sounds and looks good. I'm going to close the hood and I'm going to take this thing for a ride. Then I'll park it again and make sure the oil level's still good. That's all you got to do, guys. So easy.